All right. Nate Jorgensen, Senior Director of Academic Marketing Communications at Miami University. And I posted a poll on LinkedIn recently about asking people for sort of asking people for stories of failure. And Nate had a good one about convincing the university to spend a bunch of money for an investment that didn't end up working out. So Nate, welcome to the conversation and take it away. What's your story?
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for having me back. So I started at Miami University 2 years ago, and I had come most recently from the University of Cincinnati College of Engineering. And at the College of Engineering at UC, I gained my first and a lot of experience doing online campaigns targeting specifically engineering intending students. And for one reason or another, we had success with that, at least what I viewed as success. I kind of can look deeper into the numbers I get now and think, oh, maybe I wasn't looking at it as critically as I should have at the time. But so I came into my new role as the senior director of academic marketing, working with all of the colleges at Miami. And when we started talking about new ideas for recruitment, I was like, I'm here. Here's my thing. Here's what I do. And let's get this going, and it'll be successful, and we'll get started doing it. So I convinced the College of Business and the College of Engineering and Computer Science to do online marketing campaigns specifically for their college, for their majors, based on the work that I had done before. And so I went through a bunch of meetings about that, meetings that were involving the provost and provost money. And I just looked at like it was, over $70,000 that I ended up convincing everyone to spend. And had learned in the process at UC that, you can't guarantee results, but you're hoping for good results. Like there's not really anything that you can really benchmark for because a lot of things are so different. But so after doing all that and launching them and running them for the intended amount of time and using every strategy that we could use, I just looked up the results earlier. We had 36 forms filled out over a couple months, and I think maybe 10 of those were tests from the provider that does it. And then started looking even deeper, like, oh, that's not great. And so then out of those basically 30, 15 of those prospects were already in our system. So they were already receiving this. Yeah, it gets worse. And so they were targeted on their behavior, I'm sure, online, but they were already getting all of our information. And, we might gain the insight that, oh, they're interested in engineering, and that there's some value to that. But, to get maybe 15 real students out of an investment like that was not a great look for me starting out my time at the university.
What was the what was like the did what was the sentiment from like leadership that you had convinced? Were they annoyed or what?
They were great. They were way more understanding than they probably should have been, and that's a real credit to them because we should be trying things. We should be trying new things, and some of them are not going to work. And maybe learning at that amount helps save money down the road, where maybe you would consider launching a bigger campaign based on academic interest. So all of that being true and kind of presenting those results, like this was the first time that the university had done this kind of work before, program specific outreach to try to gain inquiry. So they didn't know, and they also were very much looking at it as like, this is our first time doing it. So
Yeah.
again, way more understanding than they needed to be, which is a credit to them.
I have more than one story like that, and I was just like, when you sent me that, I was like, oh, I totally feel for you.
Yeah,
like, I can totally relate.
I was thinking about that, like when you reached out about this too. Like I remember my first campaign at UC when I didn't know what I was doing at all, and the providing company was kind of walking me through it, and I was like, well, what can, like, this seems like a big risk. Like, what can I guarantee, like, that will, and there's like, no, there's no guarantee. Like, we're gonna have to try this. And becoming comfortable in that like in that mindset, not knowing if it's going to work or not, and knowing that it is a risk to your reputation, but there's also a reward if it does work. Like, that's kind of what being in a decision making position is. And so I would hope that maybe people would hear this and at least, think that becoming comfortable with that, I think, is a much better way to operate and to find success eventually, than just always being timid and scared and worried to make a mistake. It's usually not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing your story and being vulnerable with our audience. We don't hear a lot of people just coming forward, raising their hand to talk about something that didn't work.
Yep.
So yeah.
And like I sent you about 10, so I have plenty of them. So
yeah, there's more. If we want to do a part,
help again.
Yeah, if we need to do a part 2, I've got a whole library of Nate Jorgensen failures to pick from.
Yeah, and that's just the ones I'm willing to share.
Yeah, of course.